Hello everybody and welcome to another video. So in this video we're going to be talking about the Grand Cathay, what I think about it, the miniatures, the army, my general overview. So yeah, get a brew, get comfortable and let's jump in. Okay, so yesterday I got my pre-orders, so I got my Arcane Journal, which we're going to be talking a little bit about in a second, and I also got my Battalion box. So yeah, thank you to Replay Games for getting me that. That was awesome. So very, very cool. The boys and everything else over the Replay. So yeah, the Battalion box. We're going to be going into the miniatures as well, but I want to generally talk about the army, what I think. I generally just sort of like, not so much do as a review, because let's be fair, this book has already been done to death when it was leaked, and all of the Warhammer influences have already gone through. So I'm just generally going to talk about what I think of this book, what I think about in it, and generally what I think is going to be coming in the future for the Grand Cathay, as well as having a little look at the miniatures and talking about the miniatures, because I've built a few of them now. As you can see, I have my cavalry up on my shelf there, and I have some down here on the desk, and we're going to be having a little talk about them and showing off some of the sprues that I have yet to build. But first things first, let's talk about the Arcane Journal, because this is very different to how they have presented the armies. So as you can see up on my shelf here, I have my rule book and my Forces of Nature, I believe it's called. Basically the good guy army book. And that basically has all of the armies for the good guys in Warhammer the Old World. So they've got the Empire, the Bretonnians, the High Elves, the Wood Elves, the Dwarfs, all of those armies. May have missed one. And then you've got the other book, which is the Ravaging Hordes, which has got like Slaves to Darkness, Beastmen, Orcs and Goblins, that's about it, Tomb Kings, and the bad guys. They're all bad in their way. So this is a very different departure from Arcane Journals. So the Arcane Journals are generally going to have like flavorful text, a little bit of background, a little bit of lore, and then some regiments of renown, some like different funky cool ways of playing your army. So a Bretonnian one is an example. You've got some really good armies there. You can play the Border Princes, or you can even have like a Crusader army made up of lots of crusading knights and stuff, which is kind of cool. Now, this on the other hand is very, very different. And one of the things that this will stand out straight away is there are rules for Mao Ying, obviously the big dragon, and we're going to be talking about the dragons as well in this video. There are rules for her in the book, but there's no pictures of her in the book. And we know that there is going to be another Arcane Journal coming for Grand Cathay in the future, and I believe it's probably going to be around about September, October time, I believe, and that is when Mao Ying will come out, and there'll be another book will come out, and in that book we'll have the 2 regiments of renown, and all of the, a little bit about her, a little bit more. Now, I don't understand why they've had to split it down. They could have quite easily put the regiments of renown in this. Now this book is sitting at about 48 pages. That's about the standard size, unless they've literally decided that these books have to be under 50 pages. Now I only own the Bretonnians and the Dwarf book, so I'm going to have a look in them later on, and just see what page content that they have, and if that's the reason why they've sort of limited to this. But the book itself is good. You've got a little bit of background on the army itself, which is quite nice. Obviously the rule book has some in there as well. You've got a really cool sort of nice little picture showing the locations of the four dragons. and it kind of explains a little bit about them as well, which is kind of cool. You've got the sort of like nice little colour section. You've got the sort of the Grand Cathay in the old world. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions straight away for this army that I've noticed online is people complaining that who play. So obviously you see the artwork on my screen. People play the Total War game. They're obviously used to things like the Jade Lancers, the Jade Warriors, and everything else. And then these little guys just down there, just down there, the little peasanty ones, and they're not present at all in this. And the reason for that is this is the expeditionary force that has been sent by the Emperor and Mao Ying to the old world to have a little bit of a slap and tickle with the forces of chaos and to try to work out what the hell is currently going on in Nausicaa and the chaos itself. Obviously, because there is a plan. There is a plan afoot, and the Emperor has a plan. Although the Emperor and the Empress are currently away. They've been away for a while. And Mao Ying is kind of running the show, with my boy, the Jade Dragon, basically being the man and the myth and the legend that he is. So yeah, like, this is the reason why the peasant army isn't there. Now, I'm going to have a touch on later on about some of what I think is going to be coming to the army later on, especially within the next 12 months, or this at least next year itself. We'll get to that in a second. But all in all, I quite like it. The book is really well written, in the fact that, like, I'm relatively new to the old world, Warhammer the Old World. I played a lot of Warhammer Fantasy Battle back in the day, over 10 years ago, but I've not really played that much fantasy or Warhammer Fantasy Battle since Age of Sigmar came out 10 years ago, and this is 10 years of Age of Sigmar. So, you know, I've not really played that much in over 10 years, so, you know, the sort of nuances of the game are very much new to me. So getting into an army that is literally brand new for a new game can be quite daunting. This is quite good. Now, there are a couple of things that kind of threw me. One of the things such as the Jade Warriors being given halberds. And I was like, ooh, they're really cool. And they are really cool. Like, when you look at the models with the halberds, they are pretty awesome looking. And then I had a chat with my friend, who's a little bit more clued up on the rules than I am. And we kind of worked out, or he explained that the Jade Warriors with the halberds kind of get the sort of the detachment rule, or they have the detachment rule. So you could kind of have a big block of sword and shields with a 4-up save, and then a detachment of halberds. So when your big block is charged, your detachment is be able to be charged, and you'll be able to, like, nullify ranks and all of that kind of stuff. It kind of works similar to how the Empire work with their handgunners and crossbowmen and stuff on the sides. But you're essentially using a bunch of guys with halberds, and obviously halberds give you bonuses on the charge. Whereas the actual Jade Warriors themselves get their bonuses from being charged. So I was like, okay, interesting, kind of cool. But for me, I would probably maybe just have units of sword and board. Maybe I might make a unit of 20 halberds just to run around, you know, and charge things. But if I want to charge things with lances, then I'm obviously just going to take the cavalry and have the Jade Lancers themselves, because, you know, cavalry is more likely going to get that charge than infantry. One of the things that I will sort of touch on straight away is the severe lack of units in this book. Like in the army as a whole. Like, the battalion box is good. Now, the battalion, you know, you get quite a lot in it. You get in at least 30 you get 30 warriors, 10 knights, and 2 cannons. Like 2 of these are basically going to set you up quite nicely for an army, and that is my initial plan going into the army, is to essentially get 2 of these, because that will then give me, you know, 60 infantry, 20 cavalry, and 4 cannons, or 4 war machines. Yes, I can only really bring 3 of them in a 2,000 point army, but it allows me to make 3 grand cannons and then one of the rocket batteries. I know the rocket batteries are not as good as the cannons, but it allows me at least to have at least one of them in my collection. So yeah, these are really good. It's actually a really solid box when it comes to battalions. But then there isn't that much in the army. Outside of that box, you've basically got your sentinels, the big terracotta warriors, your lanterns, and then the characters. And you've basically got your Schengen Lord on the Longma, you've then got the hero on foot, and you've got the mounted hero on the horse, your gate masters. And then obviously you've got the sky lanterns and the sentinels as well, like I just said. So, you know, you haven't really got that much in regards to the core of the army. Now, one of the things that I do think we will get in the very near future, and I think I'm looking at like next year, because technically, you know, once Mao Ying comes out later on this year, that's pretty much it for the old world. Like, unless they've got like, and obviously with the preview that we're getting on the 18th, I would imagine that maybe we're going to start, obviously as I explained in that little predictions video, we're going to start seeing like older armies get like updated units and updated sculpts, and they'll start updating the other armies. As for the Cathay being an entirely brand new army, what are they going to get? Well, straight away, I think the top thing that they're going to get is probably 2 things, and I think they're only going to get 2 things. Is the Jade Warriors with crossbows and the Longma cavalry unit itself. That's it. I can't see them getting anything else. So, you know, people that are really wanting the peasants and all of that kind of stuff, I don't think they're going to get them, because like I said, this army represents the expeditionary forces going into the old world. And I think that the designers and the writers are going to keep the old world focused in the old world itself and not have it as a global conflict. They're going to build up that conflict that's obviously that they're doing with the First War of Chaos and as of our Cull. And I think that that's going to be the precedent. Like at some point in the lifespan of Warhammer the Old World, I can see them touching on the Grand Bastion and north of the Wall, and on maybe the southern areas, or the ogres to the west, and maybe sort of like the Corsairs and the Dark Eldar to the east of the Bastion, and maybe expand that out a little bit. But I can kind of sort of see them mainly really focusing on the old world. We might even get Lustria. Obviously, Yanbo or the Jade Dragon is in Lustria. So, you know, that kind of gives you a narrative aspect into Lustria, to bring in like the Skaven and the Lizardmen. But, you know, it really... We'll really have to see what they do with Warhammer the Old World, and that's like an entirely separate video. So, one of the other things I do think we're obviously going to get as well is dragons. Lots of dragons. Not lots of dragons, but 3 more. I do think over the years, and I'm talking many years, we will start seeing the other dragons get added to the army. So the 3 brothers at least will get added to the army. I don't think we'll see. Is it Yi Yi, the dragon? She's the one that does all the naval stuff. I don't think we'll see her. But I think we'll see the Jade, the Iron Dragon, and the Fire Dragon, because that will then complete the 4 points of the compass, and basically complete the 4 major dragons that look after the Grand Bastion or the Empire itself. And it kind of makes sense. You've got at least 2 dragons there that you could use to introduce other factions to the game. The Iron Dragon and the Ogres. the Jade Dragon and likes of Lustria and everything else. So yeah, potential. The Fire Dragon, I think we'll probably get him in Total War 3 long before we get him on the tabletop. So, I think we will get to play with him, just maybe not on the tabletop. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff. But for me, for an army, I really am loving this. I'm going to switch the camera now and we're going to have a little look at the models. But yeah, we'll do that now. We'll have a little look at the models and then I'll talk through like my plan and my idea for how I want to go forward with my army. Here's a selection of the models that I've built so far. I have the full cavalry unit built. Now, on these guys, and I will talk a bit about these, I've kept the shields off. I've deliberately kept the shields off so I can get to paint around them. Now, initially I wanted to have them built so the riders weren't glued onto the horses. Unfortunately, the way that the reins work and the heads on the horses, like this arm is attached to this rein that then goes into this side of the head, and this head has a part of the rein that goes on this side. A lot of them are pretty much like that, so you kind of have to have the rider built into the horse. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting paint, but the good thing is the vast majority of the model is this chainmail and these armor plates and stuff, so there's elements of getting around them. But yeah, these took me a while to build. I would say it probably took me about 5-6 hours to build all 10 of them. So yeah, they're beautiful models. Do not get me wrong. I'm really going to enjoy them, and I'll talk a little bit about my color scheme in a second. But yeah, these are really, really nice models, but they were a bit of a ball ache to build. This is the first one I built, and you can kind of see I kind of messed that up a little bit. But yeah, they're a bit of a pain in the arse. But mainly the sort of barding, the straps and stuff being the main issue. The rest of the horse was like super easy. The infantry, these are so good, like so good. The fact that these bodies could easily be used with different heads and the different arms for the crossbows is something I do think they'll do in the future. But yeah, these guys are just absolutely stunning. The champion, the standard bearer, really, really nice. So I've got the first rank again, keeping the shields off so I can paint them, and then I'll paint and glue the shields in place. But yeah, they are really nice. I like the musician. I think he's pretty cool. It's quite a big model, to be fair. Now, I will say that I think that the Age of Sigmar community are going to enjoy these. I would not be surprised to see these guys being used as steel helms in Cities of Sigmar armies. I will not be surprised to see that happen. But yeah, they're pretty nice. They rack up pretty well. So, no need to have a fancy laser cutter machine to make your own fancy bases. You can just glue them on the normal bases and they glue up quite well. Now, I haven't built the cannons yet, but this is the frame for it. This is one of them. I mean, like, the level of detail on here is pretty cool. I mean, that's a hefty size cannon as well. And then the other parts, the other sprue, it's basically the crew, the ogre, the crew, and then the rocket parts. So yeah, pretty cool. And obviously you get 2 of these in the box. Now, the instructions are quite nice. You've got these sort of coloured parts. The vast majority of this book is mainly the cavalry. But yeah, the instructions for the box is really decent. But yeah, all in all, I am very impressed with the miniatures. As a modern day kit, they are everything that you expected from GW Plastics from modern day. They are really, really impressive. That's basically where my army stands at. I mean, I've got my cavalry done and I've started building. I'm probably going to build 2 units of 15. And then with my second battalion box, I'll have another unit of 10 cavalry. And I'll probably expand those infantry units out to 2 blocks of 20 sword and board, and then 1 with halberds, potentially. Probably, more than likely, just for the funds. Now, and then I'll get the characters and stuff. I think as a collector and a painter, and somebody who wants to collect this army, I think 2 sentinels, two lanterns, one Shuriken Lord, and then a box or 2 of the Gate Masters. The lanterns are going to give me some of the HQ options in regards to the magistrates and stuff, because that's where they come in. So it's going to be good. So I think all in all, 2 battalion boxes is pretty much going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for a lot of your army, because it covers the vast majority of it. The main thing is the larger stuff, So for me, moving forward this week, I'm going to write a few lists, and I'm going to just continue building. I have my colour scheme. Now, I am doing a very much similar to the box art, but rather than the jade, I'm going to go for Warpstone Glow, and then build that green up to have a little bit more of an emerald colour. Again, like I've said, the Jade Dragon is my favourite out of all of them, so I'm going to sort of lean into that. And then so it's going to be mainly silver, a little bit of the brown trim with Thundeer Brown, my favourite brown, that emerald green with Warpstone Glow, and then some nice sort of yellow, sort of orangey cloth underneath as well, which is kind of cool. Now, you could do that entirely with contrast paints, but again, once I've painted a couple of the infantry, then I'll do a painting video for the infantry, and I'll do one for the cavalry, and I'll do as many videos as I can painting wise for them. Probably the cannon and the crew. Once I get the sentinel, I'll do the sentinel. I've got an idea of how to do the sentinel, like terracotta with a sponge, which should be fun. I definitely want to do a video on the Shuriken Lord, and I will 100% be doing a video on Mao Ying once I get her, because that is going to be super fun to do. So yeah, all in all, I think it's going to be quite exciting. Very much looking forward to getting some games of the old world, getting into playing with the Grand Cathay army, and really sort of getting into collecting them. Like, I'm super excited about it, and it's kind of cool. Like my interest for Age of Sigmar is very low at the moment, and I'm very, very sort of like really wanting to play a lot more of the old world, which is kind of cool. And I never thought I'd be in that position, so I'm going to hopefully see if that continues. Not saying that I'm going to be completely off the Age of Sigmar, but we'll see. Now, one thing I didn't go over is the decals, but I'll do that in the painting video. But all in all, that is an impressive decal sheet. But yeah, that's the video. So if you are liking what I'm doing and you want to support me with what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button. It's the best way of doing it. It is free, and it means massive amounts to channels like myself. So thank you if you do. There's about 73-ish% of you are currently watching my videos but are not subscribed. So obviously, if you are one of them, hitting that button would really help a lot. You can ring the bell if you want to be notified when I post up new videos, and you can ring the bell and drop a comment if you don't want to subscribe, because even dropping a comment and ringing the bell and liking it is still massive engagement with the video, which the algorithm loves. And there is a members and Patreon there if you want to support me in other ways. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing a lot more, and I'm going to really enjoy this. But that's the video. Have fun. Enjoy your Grand Cathay. And as the meme says, we'll get back to Space Wolves eventually.